It has one of the best bass lines ever recorded.
What we do here is go back, 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 back.
Hello friends and welcome to my new video. I hope you're all doing fine, and I just wanted to mention it's the hottest week ever in Germany. Oh my god, it's so hot at the moment. It's around 38 degrees Celsius, that's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit I think, and it's so hot. And whenever it's great weather and whenever it's sunny and whenever it gets hot in the summer, I start to play soul music. So I thought it's time to do my first soul video on this channel. And first of all, I want to mention I'm not a soul expert. I'm a beginner, I don't know many things about it, but of course I have some great records, and I thought it's cool to share them. And so I will present 10 records. Those were on high rotation in the last couple of days. And talking about soul music, we're going to, of course, to the United States. We're going to the early and late 60s, but also to the 70s, and there is so much great music to discover for me, and I still miss some big classics, but still. When we're talking about soul, of course we are talking about labels like Stax, for example, and we're also talking about Atlantic. But there are also great soul titles on ABC, for example, or on Atco. And of course, probably one of the more famous soul and funk labels is of course Motown. And Motown and the sub-labels Gordy and Tumblr. But for today, like I said, I want to show 10 records that I like, and yeah, I can't wait to share them with you. Let's go! Alright. So, the first record I want to show was a VCLT some month ago. Antoine from Belgium sent it to me. And of course it's the self-titled Curtis Mayfield album Curtis. And I really wanted to get this one. This is a reissue, by the way, and it's great quality. It was pressed at Optimal Media in Germany. And it's such a great album in every way. I still kept his note and the hype sticker. And Move On Up, of course, is the famous track. It was later sampled in various hip-hop and house music productions, and it's just a great album with a sunny feel, you know what I mean? And I played it some days ago, and it's always fantastic. The second record I want to show is by Booker T and the M.G.s, and I'm talking about Green Onions. Was released on Atlantic Records. This is a music on vinyl pressing. I love the cover art with the green onions, of course, and this is a great example that that there are so many variations of soul and funk music, because this is some heavy organ, of course, going on this record. And the first track, Green Onions, of course, is the most famous one. I'm pretty sure that you all know it. There is a link in the description. Be sure to check it out. It's a great record, and if you like the organ, be sure to take a listen. The next record I want to show is a recent find, by the way, but you know, I bought it 3 months ago, but I didn't show it anyways. And I'm talking about Aretha Franklin. Yeah, one of the most famous ladies in soul music, I would say, and I love her voice. And this record is called I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, and it was released in 1967. And of course, the first track, Respect, is the world famous one. And there's a funny story behind it. I think I told this story before, but the first time I heard this track was in the soundtrack of Forrest Gump back in the 90s, and the first time I heard it, I loved it. And then a few years later there was a Volkswagen commercial here in Germany, and it also featured Respect. But the whole album is a great listen, and yeah, she's so powerful. Her voice is just like she's in the room with you, and yeah, very enjoyable. The next one I want to show is by Isaac Hayes, and it's the soundtrack of Shaft. And great, mostly instrumental double album on Stax this time. This is a UK pressing. I think a UK first or second pressing, but very early. And there is a very interesting story how I got this record. a few years ago, just after I started collecting, I made an article in a local newspaper that I'm willing to buy whole collections. And by the way, it didn't work out at all. Nobody called, but there was one guy calling, and he said that his father died and he has such a big collection to sell, and I can come down and take a look and get whatever I want. And that's what I did. And he only had German Schlager music and classical stuff, and yeah, music that wasn't in my interest. But he had a few soul records, around, yeah, let's say 15 albums, and that was one of them. And all of them were UK first pressings, almost unplayed. It looked a little like he was only listening to Schlager, and the soul records somehow found their way into his collection, but he never listened to them. So this is mint and really unplayed. So good in every way, and the funny thing is, Chef is such a famous soundtrack, but I recognized that I never saw the original movie, I only saw the remake. So after I listened to this one a few days ago, I decided to go online and watch the original movie, and guess what? Of course, the original is way better, and it was so funny to see it, and the soundtrack is really part of the movie in a way. But okay. The next one is by Dusty Springfield, and it's a compilation. It's called I Close My Eyes and Count to 10, titled after the famous track. And it's on the German, it's a German pressing from, I think, yeah, it must be early 60s, late 60s, early 70s, and it's on the Philips label. And the record store owner recommended this to me. I told him that I want to have some Dusty in my collection, and he said, man, this sampler sounds really good. I don't know what they did, but it's not like a typical best-of sampler. It's so good for the sound quality. It's also a gatefold, it opens up. I would love to get Dusty in Memphis at some point, or as some guys in the VC say, Dusty in Springfield, but that's another story, believe me. I would love to get Dusty in Memphis, but for now I'm satisfied because it has all the big hits. Son of a Preacher Man, of course, I Only Want to Be With You, and This Girl Is in Love With You, and way, way more, and actually everything you need. A great album. The next one is on the Motown label, and it's also a very famous album. Of course, it's The Temptations, All Directions. And again, a personal story with this one. I used to play the bass, and I still play it, but Papa Was a Rolling Stone was one of the first tracks that I learned on the bass, and to my mind, it has one of the best bass lines ever recorded. It's just like da-dan, 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 and it's hammering, you know what I mean? So good in every way. Really funky, funk soul mixed up, and yeah, great album. This is a US pressing on Motown. The next one is one of the more rare records in my soul collection, and again it comes from this collection that I told you about, and it's called David Porter, Victim of a Joke, an Opera. Crazy, crazy cover art. I love this one, also released on Stax. And the interesting thing is you have on this album, you have tracks, musical tracks, and then there is always some talk in between the different tracks. And this record also features a sample that was used by Notorious B.I.G. and Puff Daddy in the 90s. Very famous, very rare in a way, and a great album overall. And it's always enjoyable in the summertime. And same for the next one, which is by Rufus Thomas, Crown Prince of Dance. Also sampled a lot. Great album, also UK pressing on Stax, strong, near mint condition. And in this case I also want to show, made in England. That's the beautiful Stax label, it looks fantastic. Oh yeah, now you can't see it, but yeah, I love it. Great label, there are so many cool titles. Yeah. The next one is also by Isaac Hayes, and this is a great example where soul meets psychedelic or has some psychedelic influences. This one is called Hot Buttered Soul. It was released in 1969, and it really fits in that year, because if you think of 1969, you have all these great rock records, and I love the psychedelic influence in this one. There are two very long tracks on it. I need to upgrade this one at some point, and I would also love to find Black Moses, but yeah, great album overall. And I started with Curtis Mayfield today, and I will also end up with Curtis, and this one is called Roots. Released in 1971. This is a German pressing on Buddha Records, early pressing, great quality. I've bought it for €2 at a thrift store 2 years ago, and that's how it looks like. And great album, very funky. Curtis Mayfield has he puts the music and the different instruments together so well in a way, and yeah, great album. Very cool, Curtis Mayfield. Well friends, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Have a great weekend. I hope that the weather in Germany will cool down a bit, and yeah, again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment if you want to, and see you next time. Bye bye.